Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about this topic lately, and I know a lot of you probably have as well. Cancer risk and prevention.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Teddi Mellencamp's recent journey with melanoma
Yeah.
really got me thinking about this.
Absolutely.
And I kind of wanted to dive into it a little bit with you today.
Yeah, it's interesting how those personal stories sometimes can bring these issues that maybe we all know are important, but they kind of bring them to the forefront
Yeah.
and make you really stop and think about things.
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, we have two sources to guide us. One is a People magazine article that details Teddy's experience, and then we also have a more general comprehensive guide on reducing cancer risk.
Got it.
So let's maybe start with Teddy's story,
Yeah, let's start there.
because it is pretty impactful.
It is.
She recently revealed that her melanoma has spread
Right.
3 tumors in her brain and 2 in her lungs.
Wow.
And she's starting immunotherapy. But it's clear from her story she's in for a tough fight.
Yeah.
And what really struck me was her honesty about the emotional and the physical changes
Right.
that she's going through.
Yeah, she doesn't sugarcoat it
She does not.
at all.
And I think that that honesty is what resonates with people because, we see these statistics a lot, right?
Right.
But then when you see a real person facing these circumstances,
It's different.
it makes it much more real.
Right.
And in Teddy's case, actually, the People magazine article mentioned that up to 60% of advanced melanoma patients develop brain metastases.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge percentage.
It's a sobering statistic for sure, and it makes you realize, how important it is to catch things early,
It does.
you know?
It makes you want to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's look at, maybe we can switch gears now and look at
Yeah.
that cancer prevention guide.
Yeah.
And what are some things that we can do?
Yeah, and I think what's really nice about this guide is that it emphasizes that while no prevention method is foolproof,
Right.
there are things we can do
Yeah.
to really significantly reduce our risk.
Okay.
So it really is empowering.
That's good.
And it starts with something that I think we all grapple with, which is diet.
Yeah.
What should we be eating?
Well, and what I find fascinating about this guide is it focuses on what you should be eating
Yes,
instead of what you shouldn't.
exactly.
So it talks about loading up on fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean proteins.
Yeah,
It's almost like giving your body the tools it needs.
exactly. It's about nourishment.
Right.
Right.
Not restriction.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice way to look at it.
It is, and it's about focusing on, getting all of those things that your body needs to be healthy.
Okay.
The antioxidants, the fiber, the vitamins.
Right.
Those are your allies in this fight.
Right. It's not about like deprivation.
Exactly.
You know, it's about making choices that support your health.
And it's interesting because the guide doesn't talk about
Yeah.
Teddy's diet specifically,
But
but
it makes you think about it.
it does.
That's
It
right.
does. It makes you think, how do those daily choices play into this bigger picture
Right.
of health? And it's worth noting that it's not just about preventing cancer, right?
Right.
Healthy diet has a ripple effect on so many aspects of our well-being,
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so beyond diet, then it talks about the importance of maintaining a healthy weight.
Yes.
And it specifically mentions the link between obesity and certain cancers like breast, colon, and pancreatic.
And this is a good point where maybe we can get a little bit more technical.
Okay.
Because, you see, it's not just about the number on the scale.
Right.
It's about the type of fat that we carry.
Oh, interesting.
So visceral fat,
Okay.
the kind that surrounds our organs, that's the type of fat that's particularly problematic
Okay.
because it triggers inflammation, hormonal changes. That can increase cancer risk.
So it's not about being skinny.
Exactly.
It's about,
It's not about fitting into a certain size.
right, being mindful of,
It's about being mindful.
yeah, your body composition.
Yes, and managing your weight for overall health.
Okay.
And one of the best ways to do that, of course, is through a combination of, smart eating and exercise.
Right.
The guide recommends aiming for at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity
Okay.
or 75 minutes of vigorous activity per week.
Plus strength training.
Plus strength training.
At least twice a week.
At least twice a week.
What are your favorite ways to stay active?
Oh, that's a great question.
Maybe we'll get inspired to try something new.
I've recently gotten into rock climbing,
Oh, wow.
which is a great full body workout,
Yeah.
and it's mentally engaging as well.
Oh, I bet.
But, it's really about finding something you enjoy.
Right. Something you'll stick with.
Yeah, something you can stick with.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Let's talk about the things we should be avoiding.
Okay.
Starting with smoking.
Oh, yeah.
The guide makes it crystal clear.
Makes it very clear.
Smoking is linked to a laundry list of cancers.
Yes.
Lung, throat, mouth, pancreas, bladder.
It's a scary list.
It is.
And secondhand smoke is dangerous too.
Yes, it is.
So it's not just about protecting yourself.
Right.
It's about protecting those around you.
For sure. And then there's alcohol.
Yes.
I enjoy a glass of wine with dinner.
I do too.
But the guide recommends moderation.
Yes.
No more than 1 drink per day for women.
Right.
2 for men.
And that's because excessive alcohol consumption increases the risk of certain cancers like breast, liver, and colorectal.
Okay.
And it's not just about the quantity.
Yeah.
It's also about the frequency and the pattern of drinking.
Okay.
So binge drinking, for instance,
Right.
is particularly harmful.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Given Teddy's experience with melanoma,
Yeah.
I feel like the guide's emphasis on sun protection feels very relevant.
So sunscreen.
Sunglasses,
Protective clothing.
protective clothing,
Those are non-negotiable.
non-negotiables, and those tanning beds,
Yes,
they need to go.
I agree.
Melanoma is often linked to UV exposure, and we need to take those precautions seriously.
Yes.
It's not just about preventing a sunburn.
Right.
It's about reducing the risk of a potentially life-threatening disease.
Right. And speaking of early detection, that's where screenings come in.
Yes.
So the guide is really big on, getting those regular screenings, mammograms, colonoscopies,
Pap smears.
pap smears, skin exams, all those things that
Yeah, sometimes we dread.
we dread, but they're so important.
They are.
They really are.
They stress the importance of following your doctor's recommendations for age-appropriate screenings.
Absolutely, because those recommendations are based on, the latest scientific evidence.
Right.
And they're tailored to, different age groups and risk factors.
It can feel like a lot to keep track of, though.
It can.
Like, when do I need this and when do I need that?
Yeah, and that's where having a really good open communication with your doctor is so important
Okay.
because they can tailor a personalized screening schedule based on your individual needs,
Okay.
your risk factors, your family history, your age.
So don't be afraid to ask questions
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
and advocate for yourself.
Absolutely advocate for yourself.
It's so important to remember that.
It's about being an active participant in your healthcare,
Yes.
not just a passive recipient.
Right.
Okay.
In addition to all these lifestyle factors, the guide also touches on the importance of managing stress and getting enough sleep.
Oh, yes.
So 7 to 9 hours of shut-eye,
Ideally.
ideally.
Yeah.
And that's an area that I feel like often gets overlooked.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. People underestimate the power of sleep.
Yes.
And chronic stress and sleep deprivation weaken our immune system,
Right.
making us more susceptible to disease in general.
So it's all connected.
It is.
It's a reminder that our mental and emotional well-being
Yes.
are very much connected to
Are intimately connected.
our physical health.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all one this time.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The guide also delves into the impact of environmental toxins on cancer risk.
Yes.
So it talks about things like pesticides and industrial chemicals.
Even asbestos.
Yeah.
Things that we might not think about on a daily basis,
Right.
but they are there.
It's a reminder that our environment can play a significant role in our health.
It can, and while we can't control everything, right?
Right.
We can make informed choices
Yes.
to reduce our exposure.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, what can we do?
Well, choosing organic produce when possible,
Okay.
filtering your water, using natural cleaning products,
Mm.
being mindful of the materials in our homes and workplaces.
Okay.
Those are all steps we can take.
Okay, so little things we can do.
Exactly. Little things add up.
Right.
It's about taking back some control over our environment
Right.
and reducing those unnecessary exposures. So we've covered a lot of ground,
We have
from diet and exercise,
environmental toxins,
stress management.
all of it.
What stands out to you from all this information?
Well, it's a lot to process, but I think what strikes me is the interconnectedness of it all.
Yeah.
It's not just about one single action, right?
Right.
It's about creating a holistic approach to health that encompasses our physical, our mental and emotional well-being,
Right.
as well as the environment we live in.
It's about the whole picture.
It is. It's about the whole picture.
And we have more agency than we think.
We do.
We do. I love that. It's empowering,
It is.
not overwhelming.
Exactly.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, yes.
We'll be back in a moment to continue exploring this important subject. We've been talking about all the things that we can actively do to reduce our cancer risk, but I keep thinking back to Teddi Mellencamp's situation. And, she had 17 melanoma spots removed previously,
Right.
which just shows this isn't always a one and done kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a really crucial point because, even if you've had skin cancer in the past or, you have a family history of cancer, it doesn't mean you're powerless, right?
Sorry.
Staying vigilant with prevention and early detection is key. It's like you don't stop wearing your seatbelt just because you haven't gotten into an accident.
Right, that's a great analogy. It
Right.
really drives home the importance of those regular screenings that
Exactly.
we talked about.
Early detection can make a huge difference
Why?
in treatment outcomes, and that applies to all types of cancer, not just skin cancer.
Right.
Mammograms, colonoscopies, pap smears, those screenings are our best bet for catching things early
Right.
when they're most treatable.
But honestly, it can feel like a lot to keep track of.
It can.
Do you have any advice on how to navigate all those different screening recommendations?
The best thing you can do is have an open and honest conversation with your doctor. They can create a personalized screening schedule based on your age, your family history, and any specific risk factors you might have. So don't be afraid to ask questions and really advocate for your own health.
Yeah, it's so important to remember that.
Yeah,
We put so much trust in our doctors, but it's a partnership.
it is.
We need to be informed and involved in our own healthcare decisions.
Absolutely. It's about taking ownership
Yeah.
of your well-being.
Okay.
And that goes beyond just going to the doctor. It's about those daily choices you make, what you eat, how active you are, how you manage stress. All of those things contribute to the bigger picture.
So speaking of Teddy's experience, she's now starting immunotherapy.
Right.
Can you explain what exactly that is and how it works?
Yeah.
I admit I don't fully understand it.
Sure. So it's a really fascinating and rapidly evolving area of cancer treatment.
Okay.
Immunotherapy basically works by harnessing your body's own immune system
Okay.
to fight the cancer cells. So it's different from traditional chemotherapy, which directly attacks cancer cells but can also harm healthy cells.
So with immunotherapy, you're kind of boosting your body's natural defenses.
Exactly. You're giving your immune system the tools it needs to recognize and attack
Okay.
those cancer cells more effectively.
And there are different types of immunotherapy too, right?
There are different types, some like checkpoint inhibitors. They work by taking the brakes off your immune system,
Okay.
so it can attack cancer cells more effectively.
Yeah.
Others, like CAR T-cell therapy,
Yeah.
involve actually modifying your immune cells in a lab to make them better cancer fighters.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
It sounds like there's a lot of hope and potential in this field.
There is, and it's important to remember that while medical advancements are incredibly important, the human spirit also plays a huge role in healing.
Yeah.
Teddi's positive attitude and her determination are so inspiring, and she's openly sharing her journey, which, encourages others to take action
Right.
and prioritize their own health.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not alone in this.
We're not. There's a whole community of people dedicated to fighting cancer, and there are resources and support systems available for everyone.
Yeah. And by combining that support with the knowledge
Yes.
that we gain about cancer risk and prevention,
Absolutely.
we can all make informed choices and live healthier lives.
Exactly. We have more control than we think.
We've covered so much ground today, from understanding the potential spread of melanoma to exploring, the nuances of prevention and treatment.
Yeah, we've talked about the power of healthy lifestyle choices,
Mm.
the importance of screenings and vaccinations, and the role of ongoing vigilance in protecting our health.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. Knowing what we now know about the potential spread of melanoma, as in Teddy's case, what additional precautions or lifestyle changes might we consider to further minimize our risk?
That's a great question.
It's something to really think about as we continue our own health journeys.
Yeah, it encourages our listeners to take this information and apply it to their own lives. And, it reminds us that this deep dive is just the beginning.
Really.
There are so many resources available for those who want to delve deeper into cancer prevention and treatment.
Absolutely. Don't hesitate to reach out to healthcare professionals for personalized advice and support. Knowledge is power, and together we can make a difference. But we have more to discuss. So we'll be right back to continue this deep dive after a quick message. Okay, we are back. And I have to say, this deep dive has been so eye-opening for me.
Me too.
It's easy to get caught up in the fear surrounding cancer. But what I'm taking away from this is a sense of empowerment.
I completely agree. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And we've learned so much about the concrete steps we can take to reduce our risk and really advocate for our own health.
So let's kind of try to distill it down to some key takeaways for our listeners.
Okay.
Almost like a little cheat sheet they can carry with
I
them.
like that. Okay, so first and foremost, remember that prevention is our strongest weapon.
Okay.
While we can't eliminate all risk, we can significantly stack the odds in our favor
Right.
through lifestyle choices.
So that means prioritizing a healthy diet,
Absolutely.
packed with fruits and vegetables and whole grains.
Lots of color on your plate.
Making time for regular exercise, both cardio and strength training.
Yeah, finding that balance.
And being mindful of our weight, especially the kind of fat that accumulates around our organs.
Oh, right, because that visceral fat is the real troublemaker.
It is, and we can't forget about those big no-nos, smoking and excessive alcohol.
If those are two habits that really increase our cancer risk significantly.
And then there's sun protection.
Mm.
You know, Teddi Mellencamp's journey with melanoma is a powerful reminder that we need to be diligent about protecting our skin.
Absolutely. We can't let those UV rays get the best of us.
So sunscreen, sunglasses, protective clothing, those are all essential, especially during those peak sun hours.
And let's not forget about those routine screenings, even though they might not be the most fun thing in the world.
No, they're not, but they are important.
They are. They're all about detecting cancer in its earliest stages when treatment is most effective.
So mammograms, colonoscopies, pap smears, skin exams, all of those things.
And remember, don't underestimate the power of self-advocacy.
Yeah.
Be informed, ask questions, and be an active participant in your healthcare decisions. If something doesn't feel right, speak up.
Yes, it's about taking ownership of our health, both physically and mentally. You know, we talked about how chronic stress and lack of sleep can really weaken our immune systems.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is.
It is finding healthy ways to manage stress and prioritizing those 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep are just as important as those other lifestyle factors we discussed.
Sleep is so underrated.
It is, and we also explored the impact of environmental toxins. You know, things like pesticides, industrial chemicals, and even materials in our homes and workplaces.
Right, and it's not about living in a bubble.
Right.
It's about making informed choices.
So opting for organic produce when possible, filtering our water using natural cleaning products, those are all steps in the right direction.
Small steps can lead to big changes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge. What is one small, actionable step you can take today
Right now.
to prioritize your health?
Maybe it's scheduling that long overdue doctor's appointment,
Yeah.
or swapping out that sugary drink for a glass of water, or taking a few minutes for a mindful breathing exercise.
I love that every positive choice we make, no matter how small, contributes to our overall well-being. And remember, you are not alone in this journey.
You've got this.
There are resources, support systems, and a whole community cheering you on.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Yes, thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.